Sup Shredders, Logan aka Spiderhands here. How's it going? Look, I just want to talk to you about something really important. It's not that I'm trying to sell you my Fiverr services, that isn't it at all. What I wanted to talk about today is that I hit over 1,000 ratings on my review gig. Over 1,000 video reviews. I've done over 1,000, and that's wild. It's a big milestone. You know, I don't know a lot of people on this platform who have gotten to that point. I think there's only 2 other reviewers who are at that point who do music reviews, and maybe 3, but the other 2 are like text reviews, which is still golden, but I don't know anyone else who's gotten to this point. And that isn't me going, wow, look at me, I'm special. It's just saying that it's a testament to the amount of work that I put into what I do. Now, what I also want to talk about is that my title for this gig has, as of today, changed. It has changed because I have been having some instances recently with people I've been working with where that we have not had pleasant conversations, and it's now I will create an honest video review of your music. Before it was I'll create a video review of your music, but now it is I'll create an honest one. Now, you might be thinking, Logan, what do you mean? Weren't you doing honest ones before? And yes, I was. But the problem is, I think a lot of people assume that when they pay for something, that they are getting paid positive promotion. Now, that is not something I do. It is not something I have ever done. It's just been incidental that the vast majority of stuff I get through is cool. But there has been some music that I've been sent through which has not been great, or I have had constructive criticism about. And recently, especially with the most recent issue I've had, I'm not going to mention their name because for several reasons. It's not because I'm afraid to mention the name. It is simply because it is unprofessional for me to do so, as I haven't approached them about the fact that I'm making this video, for example, so they wouldn't have had a chance to respond to it. But anyways, look, I am sick of the thought in my head which ruminates saying, do people think that what I do is paid positive promotion? It's not. I have never committed to doing paid positive promotion. And the idea that people get paid to write nice stuff about someone's music or to say nice stuff about people's music makes me feel dead inside. It's disgusting. I genuinely feel bad for any musician that I work with that thinks that the only type of feedback that is beneficial to them is positive, because they either they're afraid of getting negative feedback, which I get. I'm terrible at taking feedback. I suck at taking constructive criticism. I feel you if that's the case. I don't mind that, actually. I don't mind if people are afraid to get constructive criticism or negative feedback, because it sucks. You've worked really hard on a track. You've put a lot of time and effort into your instrument or instruments, and you've probably paid money if you can't do everything yourself, or you've got a band and other band members are relying on you to help promote the music and stuff. And so you get this jackass on Fiverr.com, you pay him money, and then he says stuff that isn't totally positive. I get it. It sucks. And a lot of people, including myself for a long time, you get put off by that. The chance that you could get your music basically mutilated by someone. What I would say personally is that there's been very few situations where I have been utterly negative about what I've reviewed. I do try and be reasonable with my feedback. It is still honest, but I try to be reasonable about it because I don't want to tear people a new asshole. But it happens sometimes that even when I'm very gentle with people, they become very upset, and it's sad. And I don't feel sorry for people who feel vulnerable about it, because I think the only way that you can get used to that is by understanding that the only way that people improve is by making mistakes. And you're more likely to, for instance, if it's a money thing, like you've invested money and you're afraid about getting that money lost because you might have spent something that doesn't work, it's better to have someone say it doesn't work and then not spend more money on that thing and have it as more of a sunk cost than to continue to do the same thing. You know what I mean? But I don't think I've ever said someone should stop doing music at any point. That would just be absolutely ridiculous. The other kind of client I've worked with this is some of the people more recently, are people that do not think that they can make bad music. And I feel genuinely sorry for those people, because they will never find out their own weaknesses. And I've met some of these people and they cannot take criticism. They may say that I've given constructive criticism in the past. I know when I've given constructive criticism. And if I say that I've never said anything hateful about someone's music. And I think that when I've had people say that constructive criticism is me being bitter and hateful. I mean, how insecure do you need to be in order to think that way? Really? That your music is so perfect that you are above any criticism from anyone? I think that's just sad. I think it's sad and pathetic. So, because of what's happened with these situations with the second lot, the people who think their music is perfect and it can't be critiqued, is that either they will, and it's very rare, by the way, I should say, it's like a very small percentile of people, which is awesome. And to be fair, I can usually pick up on who these people are by the way they communicate. Often they're very, very friendly and they use all these emojis and they are overly exuberant and they're trying to sort of like, they feel like they're trying to kind of make you feel like they're your friend when they really couldn't give two shits. You know, it's the kind of people where they butter you up so that they're more likely to get a positive press. I can pick it immediately. I have a bullshit detector. And the only reason that I don't immediately act on that is because my job is to review people's music, because I am a professional music reviewer and I take my job seriously. That's why I am so tired a lot of the time, is because it stresses me out that I am potentially at risk of losing money. For example, if a client gets what they paid for and then they have a complaint about it, despite the fact that I have given them what they paid for, and then they found out they didn't want what they paid for because it wasn't actually, they had expectations outside the nature of the gig. And I mean, like, I've had lawsuits threatened to me before by people in the past. I've been abused, called a shithead, all sorts, man. People just make stuff up and try to gaslight you and lie to you and become abusive. And it's all because the guy who was most abusive was the guy who said he didn't even give a shit about his music. And it's like, well, why are you making it then? Don't do it. Go touch some grass. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild, man. But this isn't me venting because I want to have a big complaint. This is me talking about why I am changing it to I will create an honest video review of your music, because I don't want to deal with anyone like that anymore. I've just lost patience with people who cannot take constructive criticism. Why are you asking for a review of your video if you don't want a review? A review is me looking over it and giving feedback. It's not to say everything's good and you're the perfect musician and you're the next Beethoven or whatever. It's not that. And I don't think there is ever going to be another Beethoven or whatever equivalent in whichever genre you choose, because that's redundant. The most important thing, in my opinion, after 1,000 reviews, as someone who has been doing this for years, I don't give a shit about how good you are. What I care about is that you care about your music and that you can listen to feedback from someone who's not you and take it. And if you disagree with it, you politely explain to me why you disagree with it, and we agree to disagree, and you've still paid for a review, and that's it. You don't have to prove me wrong. I don't have to prove you wrong. You're asking for a third person insight into your music from someone who has spent over half their life studying music. That does not mean that I think that I am better than you at it. It just means I have had 20 years plus of experience. I've been teaching music to students for 12 years. You know, I started it from scratch, and then I set up my own company and did it. And now I've been doing this for 3 years. And like, I get that it's good to get told that your music's great. If you make great music, your music will review well. If you don't obey the fundamentals of music, if you don't give enough for the listener to keep engaged throughout. If you make it an ego project and put a whole lot of shit in there that doesn't need to be there and that cannot be justified unless it's purely subjective preference, then there's a chance that I might not like it. And that is simply because I can look at it and go, okay, what does that like fifth guitar solo, how does that benefit the song? How does having the chorus go twice without any literal change keep the listener interested? Because it's not even about me. It's about you, because you're spending money on your music, right? I'm not here to say, yeah, look, your music is amazing if I don't think that it's at the same level as what amazing would be, because I am also responsible for saying to people, hey, you're releasing this music and you're wanting to have a career as a musician because you're paying money to it. I'm sure you want to make a return on that investment. What's the point if there's obvious stuff that I don't point out because a person is too insecure to receive that feedback, and then they go ahead and just release it? And then the saddest fucking thing is that I have people that I know that have bought plays. They have bought plays on their music. They have bought plays. They cannot get organic growth, so they buy it to make it look like they're successful. The thought behind that, as I understand it, is that if you look like you've got X amount of thousand plays, then your music might be good. But let me tell you something, Chief, it ain't it. People can see through that. They look at the engagement. It's like music videos I see where they've got like 7,000 to 10,000 views, and all of the comments are bot accounts. And then you've got like 10 likes on a 10,000 view video. It's simply the case, I think, where people have looked at it and they've paid someone to engage with it, and maybe it gets some pull in the algorithm, but then there is no organic following from that, and then it just dies off. And as someone who runs a channel where I do not get a lot of views on my videos, not as much as I used to anyways, I get it. It sucks. It sucks when people don't seem to care about what you're doing. But also, here's the thing. There are people on YouTube who are successful. So maybe the trick is that you have to either figure out what people want or actualize how you would do that. Because if you do not give people what they want, you won't get an audience. You either give something new to people that they find out they want, and that takes the internet by storm, goes viral, etc. Or you just give people what they want. But you also have to make sure that the market's not saturated, etc. And you can't just do what everyone else is doing, because even if you get beyond the lower rungs of the social media ladder, you're going to sit in that mid-range because you're not going to grow further, because there's already other people who got there before you who are already built on that. So I suppose for me, the joy I get out of this review stuff is simply that I get to look at what a person's doing and what they're making. I get to review their music, but I also get to understand them as a person. And for the vast majority of clients I work with, they're lovely. And I do actually make some mistakes sometimes, and it's not that I have an issue with refunding money to people if I make mistakes on an order. That's happened before. I've had to refund people. But I'm just hoping that if I say I will create an honest video review of your music, that people understand that it's a review video. Now, you might be wondering, well, what was the title then? I am not a paid positive promotion channel. Well, the answer is that is the case. I'm not paid positive promotion. That will never happen. It's not. So if you go to this channel and you look at what I do, and you are interested, but you're afraid of getting some negative feedback, here's the joy of it, right? You don't need to have the YouTube upload. You can just have the video. The upload is optional. It's not an obligatory thing. And quite honestly, if you are unsure about how your music will be received by people, maybe buy a review because of that. Because if you are not totally 100% sure of your music, and if you cannot justify why what a reviewer says is incorrect in a way that is reasonable and something that you can both agree on within reason, I just don't understand why you should even be uploading stuff in the first place. I don't understand why people would pay for promotion if they weren't sure that other people that it was good. I understand the whole ego thing and, you know, wanting to have faith in your own stuff, and that if you grind away at it, it'll work. But you need to polish your axe before you chop down a tree, my dudes and dudettes. And I'm not saying don't only come to me, go to other reviewers as well. Go to as many different points of feedback as you can before you release music, so that you don't get disappointed every single time when you get only positive stuff and you don't grow. There is a chance that you may organically grow because your music is just so tremendous off the bat. If that is the case, I'm genuinely happy for you. But for 99% of people, your music there'll be room for improvement, and that's okay. And you don't even have to take my advice or any other reviewer's advice. It can just be good to understand how it could be different. But closing comment, this is not a paid promotion channel. It will never be a paid promotion channel. This is non-negotiable. This is a thing that is going to continue for the rest of my career. I have turned down every single video request unrelated to music reviews because I am uninterested in doing paid positive promotion for something, especially if I don't know what it is or I don't believe in it. And I will take a cut in any revenues because at the moment I'm looking at needing to find extra work anyways because my living costs have increased. The lessons are doing fine and so are the reviews, but I need more money because like a lot of you living in different countries, New Zealand is also more expensive now. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you guys, even if you didn't necessarily trust in my reviews earlier, were honest ones, will understand that they are honest. And hopefully if you can put aside that I get it. There's a lot of people that bullshit online and they present stuff that might not be true. This is the real shit. I'm not here to make people happy with my reviews. I'm here to review music. And if people are happy because of my reviews as a byproduct, then that's serendipitous. But anyways, 1,000 reviews. Let's keep going. Thank you for watching. If you want an honest review, come to me or anyone else that does it. But you know that I do that. And the YouTube's optional, so if you're not happy with the feedback, you don't have to post it. You can just keep it and either tell your friends how terrible I am, or you can fucking take that feedback on board and do something positive and constructive with it. But yeah, Spiderhands out.